The Podcasting Dead is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe for more podcasts. And while you're at it, drop us a like. If you want to help support the channel and have access to extra content, secret contests, and more, make sure to search for us on Patreon. Patreon.com/ThePodcastingDead.
It's time for some Walking Dead What Ifs. Happy finally Friday. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead. Now, the last couple of podcasts, we actually did some video, but to be honest, this morning we just don't really have time for the setup.
No time.
But there are some changes coming to both our lives and the podcast. So in the next couple of months, video
I'm transitioning
podcasts,
into a woman.
And I'm here 100% to support you.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we should have pretty much video podcast should be the regular for us.
It's going to be so
in
wild,
the next few months. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be doing it more from home studios, which will allow a lot more freedom. And it will be, like I said, doing it mostly all video. So if you enjoy that, let us know. So we'll continue to set that up because we're in the process of building 2 home studios for that. But in the meantime, let's get to thinking some hypotheticals with The Walking Dead. My man over there, JP's got them pulled up, man. What you looking at?
Yeah, dude, I've selected a few. This one caught my eye first. It's from our friend UV. He laid it down 6 days ago. What if Jesse Pinkman ran into Rick, Herschel, and Glenn at the bar? We're talking about season 2. Assuming he ended up there while on the road, and Rick was like, "Hey, I know you. You were that meth cook I saw on the news." And Jesse is like, "Whatever, bitch."
Whatever, bitch. I don't know.
Do you think he would have joined Rick and company?
Well, that attitude right there, to me, this is after Breaking Bad, right?
I guess it would have.
He didn't quite have that same attitude at the end of Breaking Bad. You know what I mean? Like that whole fake gangster, yeah, science, bitch. That was kind of more like the first few seasons, but through the things he went through, he matured quite a bit. Like in El Camino, he was totally a matured man now.
Well, I'm guessing this would have been, about the time frame of El Camino, because if he's on the news, that was after everything bad went down.
I just feel like he would have a whole different attitude at that point. I don't see him telling Rick, whatever, bitch. I could see him maybe being like, yeah, that was, like, I could see a more gruff, kind of chiseled Jesse, just kind of like, yeah, that was, whatever. But I think they would get along. I don't think they would trust each other. Rick being a cop, and we know that Rick has kind of a disdain for prisoners or people that have broken the law because we saw how he was with the prisoners in the prison. You know what I mean?
I would rather them run into a Badger and Skinny Pete in the bar. Now, I think that would have been an even better interaction.
You'd have added an interesting voice to the lineup.
Yeah, that's for sure.
No, I think if Jesse ran into Rick, I think, that early into The Walking Dead, which was season 2, they hadn't even gotten to the prison. And when they got to the prison, Rick already didn't trust prisoners. And you remember, DARYL trying to explain to him. DARYL didn't want the prisoners to be allowed in, but he was trying to tell Rick they might be degenerates, but it doesn't mean,
Yeah.
What is it? They might be low. Can't remember exactly how he said, but they're not degenerates. He's like, I could just as easily be in there with them as I am out here with y'all. But then DARYL is just more of a dog eat dog kind of. Well, no, I don't think we should let them join. They can take their chances out on the road. But Rick told that story about the guy that beat his girlfriend and cried and got let go from it, and then he went back and killed. So Rick already has a distrust at this point in the show of people who have broken the law or whatever. So I don't think I don't think that they would have joined up at first. I don't think Jesse would have tried to kill Rick in the way that that those two did. But I think that they would have parted ways.
Yeah, it's oh man. I think Jesse would have made a good addition to the group.
Dave and Tony. That's the two that Rick killed in the bar.
Yeah, you're right.
But I could see them getting back together at some point. A lot of people speculate that when DARYL tells that story of like the skinny crackhead dude that's like, I'm going to kill you, bitch, or whatever, a lot of people, they love to, even though we know the two shows aren't related, they love to draw parallels between the two. And some people say that could have been Jesse. So it might have been that him and DARYL knew each other, and Jesse'd be like, that was a long time ago, bitch.
Yeah, or God, imagine like Mike Ehrmantraut running into Rick and Company.
Mike would be someone you'd want on your team in the apocalypse. Mm-hmm. Mike don't play. He might look like an older man, but he will mess you up.
Oh, dude, he's had so many just savage, brutal, awesome scenes in Better Call Saul. He's just
I dare
great.
say he was probably my favorite character in that whole show when I watched it.
He was definitely up there.
I mean, I love Walter White. I loved Hank. I'm not gonna lie. Spoiler alerts. If you hadn't watched Breaking Bad yet, I just can't help you. But I still Hank. That's good writing though, because you're rooting against Hank, who is like a straight shooting, not crooked narcotics officer, only doing his job and not showing nepotism by letting Hank get some kind of out because he's family. And then when he gets shot in the desert, man, that shit broke my heart.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Breaking Bad, it's not as big of an ensemble cast, but that was one show no matter what storyline they jumped to. I was just as invested as anything else,
Oh, dude, Breaking Bad. I've always said that I consider Breaking Bad to be one of the most well-written shows of my time.
Yeah, dude. It just goes to show you. I mean, even a episode with little to no action. I mean, there was one episode where they're just trying to catch a fly that's in the lab, and you're still just as involved with what's going on as any other episode.
You're right.
That
right.
is just TV done right. I mean, I wish The Walking Dead could get Vince Gilligan on for a few episodes.
Well, that just goes to show you what happens when you have like one writer. You know what I mean? Like you don't have a team. You don't have different writers for different episodes. It's all one guy. Kind of like the way Sons of Anarchy is. I mean, that was all written by what was his name? Kurt Sutter, I think. One guy wrote the entire show, and it's super, revered. It's consistent. It's coming from one person's brain.
Well, it's interesting you should say that. Now, this isn't one I can contribute much to because I didn't really watch Sons of Anarchy, but Jovi Gal says, in the name of all things good and holy, please do the what if Sons crossed over into the Walking Dead universe scenario. Do you think Tig would have been in his total element in the zombie apocalypse? Let's ignore the necro tendencies, which I wholeheartedly think was more something he said just to keep people at arm's length rather than something he was into. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, the thing about Tiggs is you got to remember that scene when he was in the room with the dead girl and he grabbed and touched her boob. I mean, I definitely think, I could understand him saying that to keep people at arm's length, but there's been a time or two where Tiggs kind of showed us that he was into dead people. I don't know that he'd be as into dead people who were up walking around and trying to eat him. But I think that would be excellent. I mean, the Sons of Anarchy, though, I'm not gonna lie, I could see them being more villains in The Walking Dead than I could see them. I mean, they're not really. Because like I've said before, one award show Rick won like best anti-hero or something to that effect. And I was like, Rick Grimes isn't really an anti-hero, at least at the point he won it was like somewhere between seasons 3, 4-ish. Mm-hmm. I was like, Rick's not an anti-hero. He's done nothing evil or wrong. Like an anti-hero to me is somebody like Jax from Sons of Anarchy who is breaking laws and, killing people in the name of the club. But because you've been following him, you're rooting for him. That's an anti-hero. Rick is just doing what he's got to survive. And I mean, Rick up to that point wasn't just killing people. You know what I'm saying? Like I never considered Rick an anti-hero until somewhere around season 5, where like they killed those cops trying to get Beth back, and that's when.
And
Rick,
even then, it's a stretch,
right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, he's only doing that to get someone back,
right?
He did. Whereas Sons of Anarchy, especially towards the end of the show, man, Jax just kind of went straight up villain, and yet you're still kind of rooting. By the end of the show, I was rooting for Jax to die. To be honest with you.
Were you really?
The main guy, I was like, dude, excuse my language. Well, you know what? I'm not going to say this on. We only really drop the F-bomb on Patreon. I was straight up like, F this guy. Like, F him. Like, I mean, he does some dirty, grimy stuff at the end. I mean, and I get it. Someone that was really close to him gets killed, and he kind of spirals after that. I don't care. I still was like, screw Jax at the end. And when he, what happens to him at the end of the show does, I'm like, well deserved. But I think they would be villains. As much as we love Sons of Anarchy,
Well, as much as you love it. Well, you and the listener.
Yeah, like me and Vixie, and anyway, as much as we love it, I mean, it's a great show. I mean, it's just that sucks you in. I think without a doubt you'd love it. I mean, it's kind of got that mobster Breaking Bad feel. It's just with motorcycles.
Yeah, man. I mean, the reason I never took the time to dive in is by the time I had the opportunity, I mean, all the spoilers had hit me in the face, and I was just like, well, there's really no suspense left for me, so.
Yeah.
I hate when that happens, like you're looking forward to digging into a show, but, just pop culture, memes and everything, you're just like, well.
Yeah, I like to try to at least let it have been completely off the air for like a few years before I just casually say, something spoilerish, because, I mean, it's well worth. Kim Dickens Madison from Fear the Walking Dead, she's in it.
Dude, you never told me that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she plays like the head of the whorehouse.
Yeah, I love that Adriana from The Sopranos is in it. I don't know her character, but
I think the Sons would totally be bad guys, because look at their MO. They run guns. And the thing is like, they run guns, but the sheriff of that town knows that though they're not good, they're running illegal guns that are going to bad people. At the same time, they keep drug dealers out the town. They don't let rival gangs run the. I mean, they were a necessary evil. You know what I'm saying? Like the sheriff knew that. All the other law enforcement wants to run them out of town, lock them up. He knew that even though they were doing bad things, and they killed people, but they were good to keep in town because again, they didn't allow people to run drugs in town. Like they kept other troubles out of town. You got one bad thing, but you got rid of a lot of other bad things. But with that all being said and done, at the end of the day, Sons of Anarchy was a gang motivated by the club's interest. I mean, you got some people in self-interest, but they were all about the club. I totally think that Sons of Anarchy would have been villains. If they would have aligned with anyone, it would have totally been Negan.
Would you ever join a biker gang?
I mean, if my freaking girlfriend would let me get a motorcycle, hell yeah. I've been wanting a motorcycle for like the last 6-7 years. She's like, get one. I'm gone.
She gave you that kind of ultimatum?
Yeah, she just don't. She's like, which I mean, I get it. She's scared because motorcycles. I mean, but it's like I told her, I'm like, I've been on ATVs and I mean, I've ridden dirt bikes. I mean, that's just been my whole life. I mean, I'm not saying dirt bikes and motorcycles are identical, but it's the same basic premise. She ain't about it.
She just thinks you're going to adopt the whole biker lifestyle, just the freedom of the road.
No, she thinks
wearing leather pants all the time.
She thinks
face tattoos,
leather chaps.
Yeah.
She thinks I'm going to end up killing myself, is what she thinks. And she's told me it's not so much I'm worried about you as I'm worried about other drivers, because you do see some morons on the road that don't quite understand the severity of like tailgating a guy on a motorcycle.
Exactly.
You hit someone in a car, it's like, ow, what the hell? Got to call insurance. You hit somebody on the back with a motorcycle, that could be it. Or, you slam on brakes when you're in front of somebody with a motorcycle. And it's just, motorcyclists are at more risk of serious injury or death when it comes to accidents from things that really wouldn't hurt someone in a vehicle. So she's just kind of worried about it.
I'm going to get you a hog for Christmas.
You buy me a motorcycle for Christmas, and I will be indebted to you forever. Yeah. But Vixie, long story short, I totally think the Sons of Anarchy, I mean, I don't think they wouldn't do some good. I'm not saying they were all evil bastards, but I mean, let's face it. The main reason we rooted for them is because we were following them, from another perspective, kind of like with Negan and Rick, from another perspective, they'd be bad guys. I mean, they did some good, absolutely. But I think at the end of the day, Sons of Anarchy, while they might not be as merciless as Negan, I think they would definitely like lock down the town of Charming and like basically, I think they would be somewhat more villains than heroes.
Well, that would be an interesting crossover. Now,
also I do think Tiggs genuinely like dead girls.
You think? Oh,
well, I mean, like I said, we saw that scene where the girl's dead and he like grabs her boob and it's like, oh.
There's a lot of kinks I'm open to, but that's one of the few that I got to take a hard pass on.
Good for you.
Yeah. Dracos, man, 3 days ago. Now, this is one, sadly, we didn't get to when we recapped The Walking Dead World Beyond, but without further ado, here we go. Just watched this week's episode of World Beyond, and everything is pointed towards Silas. But as we see, Huck is a double agent. What if she kills them because they stop Duke in a truck for the CRM? Hopefully you see this in time and can answer it in your recap video. Well, we're answering it now.
We didn't, but rest assured, my friend, that your comment almost inspired an entire podcast. If we hadn't... When you work, especially, I'm sure lots of other jobs are this way, but in radio, whenever you got a holiday you're about to be off for, you have to work double hard the day before because no one's going to be here to run the studio. So you got to make sure everything's in. You got to make sure you've pre-recorded. It's a lot that goes into leaving a radio station unmanned for a few days.
Gosh.
So, I had actually told JP, I read him your comment, and I was like, man, we should do a whole podcast. I didn't even think about that. Now that we know that Huck is a double agent, it totally makes sense that she would probably, maybe this guy found out something about her, or maybe, she saw him as a threat. Whatever the reason, she killed. I'm thinking now, going back and rewatching it, I think she killed the uncle, and I think, the nephew came in and saw it happening and jumped out the window and just took off, he don't know her from them. So in his mind, they're like, holy crap, they're turning on us. And then she's just pinning it on Silas.
Do you think Silas will survive the season finale?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe. It's so weird how in the present, I don't give a rat's ass about that character. But in his flashbacks, I really felt for him. Like, I want to see that Silas. Not just the Michael Myers-inspired stone, sometimes I black out and beat the shit out of people. Like, I mean, we've seen that a million times. Like, okay, we've got it. He's got his issues. I mean, let's start growing. The character hasn't grown on me any. You know what I mean?
Well, I promise I'll have to stay up late, but I will watch the season finale.
This 2-episode season finale. Why don't you just call it a 2-hour season finale?
Dude, these people are crazy.
I mean, I know COVID has a lot to do with all of it because it probably wasn't supposed to be 2 back-to-back, but then the fear schedule got off, and so I totally get it, but it's just still fun to laugh at, like, 2-episode finale. You mean a 2-hour finale?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
But I saw your comment, and we actually were planning to do a whole separate podcast just discussing that episode because I think you might be 100% correct. It definitely might be that Huck killed the uncle, be it she thought he was a threat or he was holding him up, or maybe he somehow was on to her. Or maybe we'll see a flashback, with him. And then the nephew jumped out the window and said, "To hell with this." So I'm starting to come around. So I appreciate that insight.
Yeah, I love that actor, man. I would have liked to have seen him continue on the show.
What else was he in?
He was Pete Hornberger on 30 Rock.
Perhaps
one of my favorite shows.
Perhaps we'll see him in a flashback at least before his face became so bashed in it was unrecognizable.
Perhaps. Here's a good one, dude, from Allie Smith. And we've touched on this before, but I think it's worth revisiting. What if Negan takes Rick's comic death at the hands of Herschel? Do you guys think Herschel should be adapted as being similar to his comic counterpart in
at the
issue
hands
193?
of Herschel?
I think she's
for killing. I was going to say because what's his face? What's her face's son is the one that takes Rick out.
Yeah, I think she's mixing up Herschel with Sebastian.
Sebastian, that's it. Well, here's the thing, though. Maybe what she's saying is that because Herschel
it'll
Jr.
be Herschel. Okay,
yeah,
I gotcha,
and if you didn't read the comics, Herschel was the name given to Maggie and Glenn's son.
Yeah, I got you.
And I guess they've mentioned it in the show. I guess they've mentioned that his name is Herschel.
I don't know, have they?
But I guess what she's saying is like, what if he grows up and then he finally takes revenge on Negan for killing his dad? I could see that, and you know what? I would actually be okay with that. I tell you, because that is one of those. I would see that as one of those themes of like, hey, you can atone and you can make things good and you can become a better person, but still the repercussions of your actions will always come back around.
Now, see, I wouldn't like that, dude. In fact, I would hate it. It might make me abandon the Walking Dead franchise altogether.
No.
It would. It might, dude. I mean, this last Fear the Walking Dead episode got me pretty close as it is, but I would like to see Herschel Jr. kill DARYL for inadvertently getting Glenn killed. I would like to see.
Ooh, now see, I feel like that would turn a lot. See, the Glenn Jr. and Negan thing. I'm not saying that's the best route to go, but I'm saying I could be okay with that because I could see. I kind of like themes like that to where like.
Full circle.
Everything comes around full circle. Right. Like, I kill you and maybe I become a good person and I repent and I regret it and I strive to be better. But then your son one day finds me and kills me for killing his dad. And it's one of those like, yes, you were a better person, but that doesn't mean you get to escape the repercussions of your actions.
Yeah. If we learn one thing from The Godfather Part 2, it's that you don't just kill your enemy, you kill all his sons,
Yeah.
You got to. But no, Allie, that is that's a cool scenario, and I guess we'll have to wait and see. But and our next scenario, man, comes from someone near and dear to my heart, and I've never actually
leave a what if on there.
Man, I'm gonna pee in your coffee. No, I've never.
It would probably make it taste better.
Yeah, you said McDonald's did not do a great job.
Yeah, I usually ask at McDonald's only. I say 1 cream, 4 sugars, and the reason I say 4, that's way too much sugar, but. They use the little machine now where they press the button and I mean it barely gives you half a pack equivalent of sugar because normally I would ask for 1 cream, 2 sugars or 1 cream, 1 sugar. So when I ask for 4 sugars, that usually gives me the equivalent of maybe a pack and a half to 2 packs. I think they heard me wrong and they put like 4 creamers and it tastes like 9 sugars in here. Dude,
you should probably just use the packs anyway because if they're sugar dispenser is as gross as the ketchup dispenser because I knew somebody that worked at a Mickey D's and I saw him like taking it apart, dude. Nah, it didn't look like it had been cleaned ever. It was gross. But anyway, ketchup and sugar aside, this comment comes from World War Hulk, my favorite comic event of all time. So please stick with us, World War Hulk, and message me some pics from your Hulk collection if you do in fact have one. Here's one from World War Hulk. Do you think Negan will stay on the show for the rest of the Walking Dead show? If so, what role do you think he would play in the Commonwealth in Alexandria? That's kind of connecting to what Allie Smith was saying. Do you think he's going to take Rick's role, as it were?
I definitely think it would be stupid for Negan to leave now when we're heading into the home stretch of the end of the, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It'd be different if it was just still going to continue going for years and years. I would definitely say, yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's extremely talented and he's left his mark. I could see him wanting to hang it up and go do something else. But I mean, it'd be really stupid to not just take that guaranteed paycheck to go ahead and film the last season and just be done with it. And I hear rumors that I think it's confirmed, his wife in real life is going to play Lucille in a background story for him. I don't know if we're going to get that in Tales from the Walking Dead, or if that's going to be in an episode in the upcoming season. But I definitely think Negan will ride it out to the end unless he's killed off at some point. But I don't know. What role do you see him taking in this?
I mean, I think he'll probably,
because you kind of got DARYL stepping into Rick's role.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking just now, too, is like, I don't know if he would take it as much as DARYL would take it.
What if Negan, I really could, haven't we had this question before? What if DARYL,
we've discussed this a little bit.
Big spoilers for the comics. Big spoilers, but it's also the comic series ended like it ended over a year ago and they've already started reissuing them.
Exactly.
So, I don't want to spoil it for you, but, it has been gone for a while. But, in the comics, Rick has to kill Dwight, and it's not an easy thing for Rick to do, and then he feels guilt for it and he hates it, but he does it to keep the peace. I could almost see DARYL and Negan having that moment. I think that's been brought up, hadn't it? Did we think that DARYL and Negan might take Rick and Dwight's role in the comics?
Yeah, well, we've shuffled around a few characters to fill that scene.
We said DARYL and Carol, but let's face it, there's no way either would kill the other. Like, that's not going to happen.
Like, Carol would have to have really gone over the edge. I mean, she would have to be like eating people and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't see DARYL or Carol killing each other, even when they're irritated. I mean, those two love the hell out of each other, so I just don't see any world where they will. I feel like DARYL would absolutely kill Negan, to keep the peace. But I do think by the time we get there, we already see as reluctant as DARYL has been, Negan has shown him several times that he's got his back. He had a damn shotgun to his face and could have taken over the Whisperers.
Exactly.
And instead, he chose to kill the Whisperers and risk getting killed to not kill DARYL. And then, of course, with Beta and I think DARYL and Negan will continue to be reluctant allies, and I think Negan will really like DARYL. We know he's always had a crush on DARYL. I think DARYL will slowly come around to Negan. And like I said, I don't think they'll ever be at the we're brothers stage like him and Rick were, but I think they will become reluctant allies. And then I think the time will come, and maybe Negan will step into Dwight's role, and maybe Negan will even say, no, you're not what they're doing is no different than what I did. You're just a dictator. The only difference between you and me is you're not braining people with a baseball bat, blah, blah, blah. And DARYL will realize, I got to put him down.
I think DARYL's going to kill Aaron. I think Aaron's going to be the one that gets in over his
what?
head.
Now, dude, please do explain. That's
just Aaron's been kind of had a real tood the last season or so, and I think it's going to continue to escalate. And I think it's going to be him.
That's what do you mean he's had a tood though?
Well, he's just been acting all brand new, ever since Jesus died. So I think he's going to be the one that steps out of bounds.
Well, wow, that's an interesting perspective, man. That would be wild. That would be heartbreaking because I think DARYL and Aaron have always been close, had a good relationship. Aaron basically saved DARYL and everybody.
I know, and that's what's going to make it so hard to watch. But I'm going to watch it anyway. So, but that's a good one, World War Hulk. Keep them coming, and please don't, be the world breaker and destroy the Earth like the Hulk tried to do. JP,
you're probably now, we try not to show favoritism, because we appreciate every listener. It don't matter whether you just tune in every now and again or we love you all equally. But now that JP has discovered someone with the name World War Hulk, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a warning. You're probably JP's new favorite.
I do love that miniseries.
Because I know JP you loved World War Hulk. That is just your Marvel event of a lifetime.
Yeah, well, that's what got me back into comic books. So, yeah, I love it. It was definitely a high point.
Do you think it's your favorite event across publishers? Would you say it's your favorite Marvel event, or would you say it's your favorite comic event ever? That's crossing over through Image, DC, IDW, Dark Horse. That's a little tough.
It is tough. It's real tough. They've done a lot of good stuff.
So definitely your favorite Marvel event, at least.
Yeah, for sure. As of right now. But we'll see what King in Black brings, because Null is coming.
Yeah, remind me when that comes out so I can start getting that.
Yeah.
I know I hadn't read any of the build-up, but you can. The way those are written, you can always still read the main event and get the gist of it.
Oh, yeah. You definitely can.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Here's another cool one from UV. What if Rick and the Atlanta group decided to go to Nebraska and found the CRM base in Season 1?
I think they would all get experimented on.
You think they'd all be...
I think that would have been terrible for them because they were a lot more gullible then. You know what I mean? They hadn't really squared off against many groups. Hell, they squared off against the Latino folks in that, over Glenn and all of that, and then come to find out those were wonderful. They thought they were, bad guy gangsters, and it turned out they were wonderful people that had, in the midst of everyone abandoning everything, these guys had stopped to take care of the elderly, which is really depressing when you learn that they actually all died in a scene that never aired. But, Rick went back for them in a deleted scene, Rick, Shane, and everybody, and then they get to the place and they're all dead.
Yeah, which who knows how that would have shaped them. Nebraska is one long-ass journey.
It's a long-ass journey.
Yeah.
And, like I said, up to this point, the only real villains they've had, other than, you could argue, Merle, have turned out to be good people.
Yeah, so, it's hard. Who knows what kind of adventures they would have had along the way.
So if you're talking about Season 1 crew, Season 2 crew might have been a little more weary because their experience with Jenner, I think, probably would have made him a little more weary of people. But I think Season 1 crew would have just rolled up in there and been like, howdy doody, we found rescue. Next thing, but why are you tying us up? what are you doing? And then they would have all died.
Yeah. That is oh boy. Stefan Miller's got another.
Stefan Miller, you're a madman. And I mean that in the best possible way.
All right. So here's another.
Are we fighting each other again?
Yeah. It's you, Cowboy Morgan, and Sandor.
Oh, you're gone. I got the Hound and Morgan.
Yeah,
I got to hear who you got because it don't sound good for you.
I've got Michonne and Brienne of Tarth.
Oh, you're gone. Well, I don't know though. Brienne took the Hound.
She
whooped
did.
his ass, good old fashioned. Brienne's the game changer there.
I believe this is the real question. Could Morgan take Michonne? A sword versus axe stick?
I'm actually going to say yes, unless Michonne was. I mean, Michonne's a beast. Michonne is an absolute beast. Do not get me wrong, and she knows how to wield that sword. But I don't know Michonne's background and training because in the comics, what was it? She was really into fencing because she was a lawyer and just lived one of those lavish lifestyles, and she was into fencing, and that kind of translated to a katana because I think some kid that lived beside her collected katanas or something. And,
right.
Though I don't want to write that off as easy. I really don't know. What do you think? Do you think Morgan can take Michonne?
With the axe, man, it's just, with a battle axe like that, you don't have a lot of defensive measures.
You don't have much speed either.
No.
Well, we've seen him, though. He'll turn it around and put the heavy end down and use the stick end if he needs to stab, and he's a lot quicker with that. But the problem is sword versus stick.
I think Michonne would have him, man. I think she'd be quicker. I think one misplaced swing of that axe, and she'd open his gut right up.
Damn it, Stefan! You always set me up to lose. I think the gist of all of this is that Stefan Miller wants to see you beat me in some capacity.
Maybe. But, Brienne and the Hound, man, that was a pretty... that still could have went either way. That was an even matchup. If she hadn't, had that rock to grab and club him in the head with...
That's true.
So I wouldn't just,
You can't just rule that as an automatic Brienne wins, because that was very circumstantial.
Yeah, I think he very easily could have... It could have went the other way.
They're pretty evenly matched.
They are,
Brienne and the Hound. They're pretty evenly matched. I still think Morgan and Michonne are fairly even matched.
That's a close one too, man.
I don't think that it's a I think that if the edge went to Michonne, it would simply be because Morgan now has a heavy axe stick. Mm-hmm. If Morgan had a metal stick that was sharpened of some kind, that right. She couldn't just. Which I'm not going to lie. The thing is with those katanas, I don't think here's the problem that could go for Michonne though. Those katanas, while there's a reason why they're so fast to wield. They're light. Mm-hmm. They're not made of much. They'll slice through stuff, no doubt. But I don't see a katana slicing through in one slice. But eventually, I think she would chop. There goes my pen. And she would work her way through the stick. Like a broadsword or something heavier would through that stick in one swing. But katanas, like I said, I took martial arts for 12, 13 years, and we definitely learned how to wield a katana, and I can tell you they are sharp and they are light, but they're not meant to break through thick things. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why the case is such a big part of the katana. Like a lot of times you fight with the sheath the katana goes in. But it really is made more for assassinations. You've got it on, they're not really made for cha. Do it, but at the end of the day, the katana's main intent, the reason why it's curved is you want it to kill somebody. You get in close, pull it out of the sheath, and disembowel real quick, and then put it right back in. It wasn't meant for they're even though they do make strong ones, katanas are not the strongest in the sword family. So you might, if it really could, man. I know I'm rambling, but I'm just thinking it over in my head. If she swung that katana and he threw the heavy end of that axe up and actually caught it, you could break that katana.
Yeah.
And then, which case, Cowboy Morgan would flip around that stick in and kill Michonne, which would be interesting because they were lovers in the comic, but it never happened in the show.
No. At least not yet.
So who do we think would win? I feel like this needs to go to that show Ultimate Warrior, and they need to put it in a database and let it run a couple of times.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, I feel at the end of the day, I feel confident Michonne could take Morgan, but as we said, Brienne and the Hound there, that's a real toss-up.
Then it comes down between me and you, and while, I think we've said several times, JP said this first, not me, so this ain't me being a cocky asshole, that I would probably win. But I don't think I would easily win, because I'm telling you, if there's one thing I've spent a lifetime sparring and messing around and, with martial arts and stuff, is that you don't underestimate anybody. JP might have this goofy kind of like laid back, whatever persona, but you put someone in a life or death situation and you'll be surprised at who comes out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So while maybe because I have a little more training than you do, I would get the victory. I'm not putting it past, man. I think you're probably one of those jackass kind of peoples. Like even if you don't land many hits, I will have to pretty much break my hands for you to finally be out. You know what I'm saying? I don't see you submitting very easily.
Well, my first plan of attack, I'd strip down completely naked just to throw you off.
Like they're all fighting and I'm running across the field and you're chasing me?
Yeah.
No, don't touch me. Stop.
Yeah. So it would get really weird.
When Rodney Carrington, the comedian, said that, he was like, I've got the best fighting move ever. I've never lost a fight. He was like, because I'm quick. Gone. And then he said, what is it? He said, if somebody wants to fight, he just drops his pants. It's like, oh, you want some? Come on. He said, you swing it back and forth a little bit. He said, because nobody wants to fight the naked guy.
Yeah, I would get totally naked and do my best to become erect as well. So you would have your hands full. That's all I'm saying.
Like our teams have killed each other, and then it's like, let's check in and see who's won between Justin and, they're still running.
Yeah.
I think I could run further than you, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I still work out anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week. I spend time on the treadmill. I hike. While I'm not saying I'm in peak physical form, I'm pretty active. Whereas, though I think your grocery job does keep you moving and active, I don't think it's quite in the same way that a good workout and physical activity,
I did get kind of winded running from the front of the store to the back of the store and back again the other day.
I think eventually if I just ran long enough, you'd gas out. Then I could just come running back at you and drop kick your ass. And then, that pretty much would be it.
Yeah, perhaps. But
Stefan, you know what? I want to see you do a lineup where it is obvious that I win. Because I still feel like the way that would go is Morgan would die. And the Hound would still lose again. And then so now not only do I have to take out a naked, erect JP, but now Michonne and Brienne are hauling ass after me too. So it's like it does not go well for me.
Yeah. I don't think that goes well for anyone.
I mean, it might for you.
Yeah, I mean I'd be naked and erect and with
two lovely ladies chasing after.
And they're like in the glow of victory. So yeah, that could be all right.
Thanks, Stefan.
Yeah, but
I have to have that in my head today.
No, we're pretty. I'm looking around. I think
we did have some on our most recent. We've had check a few of our more recent videos because I did see one. I've seen a few on more recent. It's not a lot, but I've seen one or two on more recent videos.
Whoops,
that's our podcast.
Yeah, that was us. Hey. Not seeing one on Fear the Walking Dead. Let's see about who or what is in my head.
Hey, dude, that was beautiful. Check the comic. I think somebody put. Let me see. Hold on. I think I got it right here. Let me.
Here's one from Stefan from the World Beyond. What if Rick was shot by Otis's bullet instead of Carl? How would? Is this one we've done before? Which podcast is this?
He left that same one on the comic cast too. I think. Did we talk about that or did we?
I feel like we've done that before, but Lord knows I might be wrong. I feel like we did that.
I mean, I feel like if the bullet would have hit Rick, number one, he would have been like, "Damn it! Why do people keep shooting me?"
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah, we did that.
Like before he went down, Rick would be like, "Stop shooting me!"
Yeah.
What is wrong with you people? At least Carl's okay. I mean, number one, too, in the Walking Dead world, forget wonder and mystery and all that feel-good bullshit. If I saw a deer and my kid started walking up to it, I'd be like, "Stop! That's dinner." You know what I mean? Like, I would have shot the deer myself.
Man, Freddie G is really throwing some shade on us. He's like, are you serious?
Oh,
did you watch the episode? First off, the dad did also abuse the mom via flashback.
I don't remember saying the dad didn't abuse the mom.
I don't know.
I was talking about the mom looking at Silas after he killed the dad, basically telling Silas to stay away when Silas just saved her life. I don't remember ever specifically saying that the father didn't abuse the mother, because it was abundantly clear by the way that woman, the neighbor, was talking to Silas. She knew that the dad was beating both of them up.
One thing is apparent, Freddie G, way more into this show than...
And I applaud you, Freddie G, because I wish I had the kind of passion for this that you do. Which it's gotten better. I mean, it's still not a great show, but it's gotten better. I don't mind the shade, though. The shade's cool. You can't do this and not expect to catch some shade.
No, and I mean, look, this is obviously Freddie loves the show, and Freddie's sticking up for it, and I think that's admirable.
You're probably a little bit more attracted to him now.
Yeah, I would. I'm not asking Freddie G to send nudes, but it did cross my mind. But anyway, no, I'm not. I'm seeing some stuff from Stefan that I think he has put on the other cast. So we're not looking over you, Stefan. But
I think I got one from Stefan. All right, and I see a few from Stefan right here. So let's see. Stefan, by the way, thank you for all your questions. They really do help.
Yeah, you're awesome, Stefan.
I really am hoping I can find another Justin versus JP where I have a better lineup.
Honestly, man, Stefan should really write some straight up fan fiction.
We should get with Stefan and write up some fan fiction, because I would love to go back to the beginning of the show and just write from there.
Are you serious?
I do. How awesome would
your
that
own
be?
take on it?
Yeah, just a whole redo of the show, from our perspective.
Yeah, it'd be cool to do it like the old school, what do they call them, Which Way books or something, where
you flip to a certain page depending on your decision.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what they did with the Telltale games. That's essentially what those are.
All right, let's see here. All right, so let's start off with what if Cindy in Oceanside killed Tara when she washed up on the shore after separating from Heath and proceeded to kill Enid and Aaron after Enid killed... Well, I think Oceanside wouldn't be allies.
I don't think so either.
That was actually the episode that myself and a lot of others hated that you actually loved, was the Tara Oceanside.
I did like that. And I mean, Tara is not exactly one of my favorite characters, but yeah, I thought that was one of the best episodes they ever did.
I like Alana Masterson a lot. I think that, I definitely think Tara had her points where I was irritated with her.
Yeah.
But it was more, again, the writing. I mean, because I think Alana Masterson's a good actress. In the beginning, I really liked Tara. I mean, I loved that story. Started off as a bad guy, a reluctant participant, didn't, and then of all of those idiots following the governor, she's the only one that had enough common sense to be like, yo, he just cut a dude's head off with a sword. This guy is not okay. We should not be helping him.
Yeah.
And of course, all the others are like, the plot needs us to be evil, and so therefore we're really stupid. But I like Tara, but then it got to certain points in the plot. Like, I get her wanting to kill Dwight. I totally get it. But then the constant flip-flop. Be consistent. If you want to kill Dwight, still kill Dwight. Because it's like she wanted to kill Dwight. And then Dwight had a chance to royally screw her, but instead, addressed the saviors, acted like everything was fine, didn't say, oh, hey, by the way, all the people you're hunting are right over there. He saved them. But then Tara's like, I want to kill Dwight. We don't need to kill Dwight. Dwight shoots her with an arrow that clearly was not infected, and she's, now DARYL wants to kill Dwight when DARYL... So there's been some Tara plot points where I've kind of been like, she's kind of getting on my nerves. But towards the end, I won't lie, I was very sad to see Tara's head on that bike.
Yeah.
I really was. I think Tara and Enid and the Highwaymen, man, I was sad they died. I like the Highwaymen.
They should have stuck around.
I thought they'd be a cool characters to not make prime characters, but they kind of come in every now and again, they're kind of like mercenaries, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They come and they help with the whole fair festival thing, and then once that's done, they kind of ride off, say, hey, if you need us, you know where to find us, and then maybe they are called back, or they... But, I was sad to see Tara go, but if Tara would have died and then Enid and then Aaron, I think that number one, that's the thing, though. What I was going to say, I think Rick and his company would have just wiped out Oceanside and took their weapons for the Negan War. But then again, they wouldn't have known they had all those weapons if they killed all these people. You know what I'm saying? I think if they killed all those people, I don't know whether it been before or after, but I totally think that Rick and his group would have just taken that place over.
Probably so, yeah.
I mean, that's one thing they don't take kindly to is killing their people.
No, hell no.
Let's see. And then also he asked, what if Negan killed Rosita instead of letting her go after she shoots Lucille? He doesn't take Eugene and instead just shoots her right there or bashes her head in. That would have been brutal. But that's not how Negan operates, and that's the genius of Negan, is Negan knows that if you wrong him, and of course, he kind of got to the end of his rope with Rick, which is like, I'm killing them all. But, normal Negan, that's how he operates. He knows that killing you's too easy. You're not around to learn your lesson. It's much easier to make your actions cause harm to someone else. So not only are you alive, but you now live with this guilt of knowing your actions killed someone or hurt someone.
Yeah, it's kind of like Virginia's method.
Yeah, like he likes to kind of play mind games. But if he did just kill Rosita, or if maybe a rot would have killed her when she had her down on the ground, that would have been brutal. We would have lost out on a lot of really good stuff. I mean, Rosita was pretty important to the story, like with the explosives and capturing Eugene. I mean, even though he got away, I still think her being there and capture, which Eugene, I guess, wouldn't have been with Negan and them. You know what? Well, you could say it's a long stretch, but you could almost say they would have lost the war if Rosita would have died. Because if he would have killed Rosita and not took Eugene, Eugene would not have been there to cause the bullet sabotage, which would have killed, took out a lot of the Saviors. But then one could argue the Saviors wouldn't have done that attack because they wouldn't have had enough ammo. That really is just kind of like you could just go so many ways with that. Needless to say, the show wouldn't have been as good because one of my favorite scenes in the new seasons ever is our Rosita scenes. I love her fighting Beta, where she really shows that she might not be big, but she can definitely throw down with the big ones. I think she gets overlooked a lot of times when people are doing these Walking Dead or you versus me. I think Rosita she hung with Beta.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I ain't saying she whooped his ass, but she hung in a tight space too. That's where big people thrive when it comes to a fight, is a big space. They're big. You can't really get around them. You can't move a lot. I mean, that's always in martial arts. You're told, you're fighting somebody big. Do not get cornered, or getting into a tight space, or that's it. So I think Rosita is definitely overlooked when it comes to badasses at fighting when we talk about these things here on the podcast. But
I can see that. I
think the show would have not been as good, and I think they might have actually lost the war without Rosita. I mean, I think she was very instrumental in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Let's see. What if Alpha had spared Enid instead of Sadiq in the season 9 finale? It would have been a lot better, I'll tell you that. How would this have changed the story going forward? Also, would Enid still have died later on to Dante? It would have been nice to have had a Maggie and Enid reunion in the season 10 finale instead of Gabriel and Maggie happy reunion. Yeah, I agree, which would feel more natural and emotional for Maggie. Yeah, I agree. It would have been so much better if which I don't, I like Father Gabriel. I still stand by they should have killed Father Gabriel right there. He died in that arc in the comics. They wouldn't have been killing him in the same way, but he still would have died in the same time frame. And I feel his arc would have been complete. He started off as cowardly, not able to really survive on his own, to going out, taking out Whisperers, and fighting like a true warrior. It would have been a beautiful, poetic end to Gabriel. But that's not because I don't like Gabriel. I'm just saying it just from a writing perspective would have been a great way to have him go out. But it would be cool to see Maggie come in and save Enid. Be a little on the nose, though. Like, of course, Maggie's going to save Enid. But still, it was. I still dig it. No, I would have liked to have seen Enid survive. Man, I feel like Enid had finally grown on me. I didn't really care much for her up to that point.
Yeah, I didn't really care about her throughout her tenure. So it was whatever.
No, I didn't either. I don't know. Enid was one of those mysterious characters where it's like, is she with the wolves? And then it just kind of went, yeah. But no, I would have liked to have seen her live a little bit longer. Once she kind of matured as the years went on, I could get into a character. Because when she was trying to step up to Michonne, I was like, girl, you better back up. You realize who you stepping up to? I mean,
Back
like,
a rack.
2 seconds, she'll have your ass cut in half on the floor.
I know.
What if Rick and Daryl never found the prison, but instead found Woodbury? What would have happened if they'd have been integrated into Woodbury and find Andrea, Michonne, and Merle under these circumstances? Would they have all stayed with the governor? It would not have went well, because we saw how Merle's reunion with Glenn and Maggie went. Well, he didn't know Maggie, but Glenn, I mean, he would have definitely, I think he still had beef with Rick. Daryl being there could have thwarted that a little bit, but I feel like he would have totally tied Rick up and done the same thing he did with Glenn.
Yeah, and I think he would have given maybe Glenn the Maggie treatment, like made him get topless, and I don't know.
I don't think it would have went well for him. I mean, of course, the plot would I guess, have them survive somehow. But looking at it realistically, I mean, I feel like, number one, the governor wouldn't have liked Rick because he is somebody who would probably challenge his leadership. I don't think it would have went well for him at all.
Yeah, I think Rick definitely would have kind of taken him down from within, especially like the first time he asked him to do something, like when they gunned down those military dudes.
Yeah,
you remember?
I'm still blown away. I mean, I know Merle's a despicable guy, but as someone who was in the service, you know, that's rough, man. I can't imagine seeing someone do that. But yeah, I don't think it would have went well for our heroes. I feel like maybe they would have kept Andrea from banging the governor, though.
Yeah, it probably would have.
Let's see. And we got one or two more, and then we got to wrap this thing up. A bit dark, so bear with me, but Sophia has been found in season 2 before she was bit by a walker and made it back to the farm via Daryl finding her. And Carol, Carl, Rick, Daryl, Glenn, and company try to console her, but due to her trauma from the whole experience of being lost with zombies, she ends up suiciding via one of Andrea's guns or knives. So Andrea let Beth almost kill herself when she was supposed to watch her. How would this have changed the story if Herschel and Patricia stumbled upon her walker self and locked her in the barn? Part 2, what if Maggie and Carol stumbled upon her and she takes a bite out of Carol as Carol is in shock and gives up, and Rick and Herschel shows up having to put them down?
Oh, my God.
Well, then I think Rick and company probably would have died because Carol wouldn't have been there to save them from Terminus.
Yeah, that's true.
Any situation, I think, that involves Carol dying leads to the group pretty much being dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if maybe Abraham and the others might have found a way, but I mean, I feel like, you know, Carol, all roads lead to Carol saving them at Terminus. I mean, there's just really no way around it. If Carol's gone before then, and I mean, maybe if you want to get super specific, there's some butterfly effects to where they don't end up at Terminus, but still, if Carol's gone, I still feel like, you know, because it ain't like Carol was the big proxy between the governor and Rick. You know, I could see if Carol was right up in the middle of it, and you could say, well, if Carol would have died, maybe they wouldn't have had. But Carol was, you know, I feel like if Carol was dead, they'd all die. They'd all died in Terminus and got eaten by people.
Yep.
But yeah, Sophia killing herself that young, man, that would be hard to watch.
God, yeah, it would have.
Well, then especially if Herschel puts her in the barn. That would have been bad. I think you would have had a civil war on your hands.
Yep.
Let's see. And one last one. There's a couple here, Stefan. We got time for one more. Let me kind of go through here and see what we've got. Let's see. All right. What if Jadis had delivered Negan to the CRM successfully like she was planning to in Season 8? How would this have changed the story? We know Simon was on a brutal warpath, however, wasn't as smart as Negan would be in the final stretch of the war. Would Negan's disappearance have elongated the war, shortened it, and how would Simon have handled Dwight's treachery, Eugene's bullshittery, and how would Rick and company have handled Negan's disappearance? Also, who would have killed new leader, savior Simon, if not Negan, and who would have died at all, considering without Negan, maybe the saviors don't lose? I mean, I think they would definitely. I mean, I think that Simon would just lead the saviors right into an all-out battle. Simon was a lot more predictable than Negan. You know what I'm saying? Like, Simon was just like, I mean, I really think if Negan disappeared and they knew Simon was at the helm, number one, I think he probably would have. Well, I don't know if he would kill Eugene, but I think he would definitely not. I think Eugene would be more slave-like like whereas Negan knew, like, hey, here's the deal. You do good, I'll reward you handsomely. You do bad, you die. I think Simon would have been way less just like, hey, here's the deal. You do good, you get to live. You do bad, you die.
Right.
That's it. No favors, no special treatment.
No pickles.
No pickles. That's your reward. I'll let you live. But I feel like Simon, man, someone with Simon's temperament would be easy to beat in a war just because all you have to do is exploit that. Just get him pissed. And he's going to react very predictably. He's going to show up and try to wipe you out. And if you know that's his mindset, whereas Negan had the genius to lay out fake plans to get them all in position so that he could take them all. I mean, Negan's plan, by all accounts, was freaking genius.
Yeah, and it worked.
And if not for Eugene's treachery, everybody would have died right there at the bottom of that hill. I mean, they were surrounded. They were downhill, and I mean, there was no getting out of that one.
No.
So, but I feel like the Saviors would have lost a lot sooner if Negan disappeared.
Yeah.
And Dwight's treachery, I mean, I think Simon would have just killed him. I think Simon would have just killed him in front of everybody to make an example out of him because Simon thinks that's how you operate, Yeah. I think Simon would have pulled out a gun, shot him in the face, and been like, anybody else want to help? Blah, blah, blah. And I think that would have been it. So I definitely think the war would have ended sooner because I think Rick and his group would have exploited Simon's anger. I think, and if he even found out about Dwight's treachery, I mean, if Jadis would have taken Negan if Jadis would have taken Negan off to CRM, I don't think that Laura would have ran into Negan. She might have come back. I don't know, though. I feel like if they knew it was Simon and they knew his temperament, they'd just bait him out and kill him.
You're right, yeah.
I know I'm running my mouth a lot. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of trying to wrap this up. But do you have any thoughts on that? I don't know.
I think that hits the mark pretty good. Pretty good.
Who do you think would have been a better leader, Negan or Simon?
Like Simon's definitely a number 2. You don't want him running things.
He needed to know his role.
Yeah, exactly.
He was a great. And some people are just like that. Some people, it doesn't mean. I mean, some people are very valuable members of a team, but they are better when they're given direction from someone who kind of is able to plan a little more strategically. And Simon's problem was he was a number 2 that really wanted to be a number 1, and it didn't work.
No, it didn't.
But leave us some more Walking Dead what ifs in the comments of this one, and we will definitely try and get to them next week. And don't forget, if we ever don't get to your Walking Dead what if, it is not because it wasn't good or we didn't want to answer it. Number 1, we try to keep these at around an hour because we have a lot of other stuff we have to do at work. And 2, that's really it. I don't know why there's a 2. I'm still stuffed from yesterday. And my girlfriend's family has a pet turkey, and it was not. I felt like I was being chased and stalked by a velociraptor yesterday. I totally believe dinosaurs evolved into birds.
You might be right.
Because that turkey, and like they've raised it from being a baby. I think they found it abandoned or something, and that's why they got it, or the mom had been killed, whatever. But like they've raised it from being a chick up to it, and it's nice to them. But like we get out the car and it starts attacking my girlfriend, and it's something about certain shoes it don't like. So it's like it's slowly stalking up to you, and the whole time we're in the house, it was like sticking its head. And when I got Snapchats of it's like sticking its head through the window, and like just I felt like the kids in the Jurassic Park scene where like the raptors are looking through the windows and they're in the kitchen.
Golly.
Well, so needless to say, that combined with the fact that I got up super early this morning and got to a store before 6 a.m. to get a Black Friday deal, I'm exhausted. So we'll definitely try and get to the rest of the questions and the new ones next week. But anything else you want to add? I'm sorry I've been talking so much.
No, that sounds like a plan to me.
All right. Well, we'll see you Monday. And I'm sorry to the patrons that we didn't get a second Patreon podcast this week. Thanksgiving kind of threw a wrench in that plan because we were obviously both off work and away from the studio and had a lot of family stuff to go to. But next week we'll be back to regular schedule, Tuesday and Thursday, Patreon exclusive podcasts. And thank you again to everyone who is a patron because we have to build 2 home studios now. We've got to build one at my house and build one at JP's. Mm-hmm. And we've already got to start with some Patreon money that we've got. So we've already gotten 2 nice mic setups. We're about to get, everything we need to get those up and running. Now we need to get some boards. and we got to get one desktop computer for Mr. JP over there.
Yeah.
And then we will be set and ready to go for home podcast, which is the way we're going to have to go soon. So with that said, thank you to everyone who's a Patreon supporter. And if you want to support the channel, please, every single dollar helps to building these home studios. And then from that point on, once we have the home studios, every podcast will be a video podcast.
Yep.
But yeah, so thank you, and we'll see you soon. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.